Welcome everyone to BOMA International's 2025 National Issues Forum and Fly-In. As we come together to discuss the important issues we face as an industry, the key component of our meeting is the opportunity to take our issues directly to your members of Congress. This video provides a briefing on the key issues that BOMA is advocating for you at the federal level. We'll be holding a briefing on site, but this will give you the opportunity to think about the issues in advance of the meeting, provide the opportunity to formulate any questions that you may have for staff, and develop a deeper understanding of BOMA's positions before you're in front of your elected officials. Advocacy staff will be available in person and at any time to answer questions and provide tips on successful congressional meetings. We hope the opportunity to dive into the issues beforehand will help in making this the most successful day of congressional visits in BOMA's history. As we all know, we're facing some significant challenges in commercial real estate and the building industry. Mandates for decarbonization, issues of safety and security, interest rates, government leasing, and the return to office, just to name a few. But our industry can meet these challenges if we work together to solve these problems. Advocating on Capitol Hill is an important step in moving the industry forward, and I look forward to working with you to get our message out.
The 2025 Fly-In will be held on March 10th and 11th in Washington, D.C. Participants are responsible for scheduling their own Capitol Hill meetings, and this is often coordinated by your local association. If you're the BAE or otherwise tasked with scheduling the meetings, we encourage you to begin reaching out to congressional offices as early as possible.
Some congressional offices are able to schedule appointments well in advance, while others prefer to wait until a week or two before the requested date. So be prepared to be patient and flexible. You may need to be persistent in some cases, so don't be surprised if you have to follow up several times with emails or phone calls.
The best approach is often to call the main office number and request the email address of the scheduler. Then, email your meeting request directly to the scheduler and follow up with a phone call. Some offices may ask you to complete an online meeting request form.
When contacting congressional offices, ask specifically to schedule an in-person meeting. If your congressperson does not have time on his or her schedule that day, ask to meet with a legislative aide who handles our issue areas. We recommend scheduling your visits on Capitol Hill to take place between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. on March 11th.
Meetings typically last around 30 minutes, but can run as long as 45 minutes. So you may want to allot 45 minutes to an hour for each meeting to be safe. And if you have to travel between the House and Senate sides of the Capitol complex, allow at least 30 minutes for travel and re-entering the buildings.
Capitol Hill visit and meetings are one of the most important and effective tools that BOMA International has when it comes to advocating on behalf of the commercial real estate industry. Each member of Congress represents roughly 750,000 people across their districts. Take advantage of the time that you have with each office to build a relationship with that member and their staff. The key to a successful meeting is being able to clearly communicate your positions and asks. Learn the key issues beforehand and be prepared to answer any questions that your member or their staff may have. When possible, know where BOMA and your member both stand on each issue you discuss. BOMA International has crafted a series of policy papers that outlines the industry's position on our top legislative priorities. It is important to coordinate with your delegation beforehand and establish a process for how your meeting will be conducted. Allow each participant to introduce themselves and their businesses before moving into policy conversations. Assign each attendee with a specific role and issue for them to take ownership of and present. Provide each office with a leave-behind packet that includes the policy papers and your contact information. This will allow staffers to review each issue in more detail. Be sure to thank each office for taking the time to meet with your delegation and ask if there's any additional information that they may need from you afterwards. Keep in mind that your member and BOMA may have different views on certain issues. Respect your member's position while explaining why BOMA International takes a position that we do. Priority number 1 is the Setting Consumer Standards for Lithium-Ion Batteries Act. This bill requires the Consumer Product Safety Commission to issue a consumer product safety standard for rechargeable lithium-ion batteries used in micromobility devices such as electric bicycles and scooters to protect against the risk of fires. The safety standard must include a requirement with respect to the equipment related to the rechargeable lithium-ion batteries used in micromobility devices, including battery chargers, charging cables, external terminals on battery packs, external terminals on micromobility devices, and freestanding stations used for recharging. Our fight continues on with the Small Business Loan Enhancement Act. The SBA 504 loan program provides favorable term financing for small businesses to make energy-efficient upgrades in their commercial real estate properties, including renovations, retrofits, and purchases of major fixed assets. Most 504 loans are capped at $5 million. Projects that reduce the total energy consumption within the building's envelope by at least 10% may qualify for an additional $500,000, making the total loan $5.5 million. The Small Business Energy Loan Enhancement Act would expand the maximum allowable cap for 504 loan programs from $5.5 to $10 million. Small business owners must find solutions to comply with increasingly strict local and state carbon compliance mandates and to afford increasingly expensive improvements. Small commercial real estate businesses in particular do not have the cash on hand to finance expensive renovations or retrofit products, as associated costs far exceed the current cap of $5.5 million. BOMA International strongly endorses the Small Business Loan Enhancement Act and has worked with congressional offices to secure bipartisan co-sponsorship. This legislation would provide an invaluable lifeline to countless small businesses within the commercial real estate industry. Our next priority is the PREPARES Act. This bill reauthorizes a pre-disaster mitigation program administered by the Small Business Administration for flood and fire mitigation disaster loans to small business for protection of real estate, equipment, inventory, supplies, and materials. This bill also increases the amount for the loan to take mitigation action to protect damaged or destroyed properties from possible future disasters. This is an important piece of legislation to help our building managers manage the changing weather that we're seeing from coast to coast. And last but not least, the Freedom to Invest in Tomorrow's Workforce Act. This bill allows the use of funds in qualified tuition programs, commonly known as a 529 account, to pay for expenses associated with obtaining or maintaining recognized post-secondary credentials. Americans will finally be able to save for trade school without the burden of paying taxes, just like saving for a 4-year college degree.
Even though we're here for meetings with congressional offices on federal legislation, it's always a good idea to keep your focus local. Congresspeople want to know your story, and they want to know how issues affect the districts and states they represent. So while it's helpful to be able to share details on legislation, there's no need to worry. Both the congressional staff and BOMA staff will follow up on the details. The biggest impact you can have is in introducing yourself, explaining what you do and what's going on back home, and how our legislative issues will make a difference for you. In addition to briefing papers on our priorities, you'll be equipped with one of the best tools for making your case. There may be no more popular BOMA resource to assist with advocacy than our state cards. Based on the BOMA 2022 office market study, the cards provide statistics on commercial real estate's contribution to the state economy, including the numbers of jobs created and salaries generated in your state. National statistics for the entire country are on the reverse of the card. Commercial real estate is one of the largest economic engines in the country. There's no better message to get the attention of policymakers than sharing these statistics on how CRE directly benefits the local economy.
It may be helpful to provide context of BOMA's track record as a pioneer of sustainability. This could come up in regard to our priority issues or just in speaking about BOMA in general. BOMA International has a long history of leadership on sustainability issues. Perhaps nothing better symbolizes this than our status as a 17-time recipient of the ENERGY STAR Partner of the Year award. Following the recent success of our W² Challenge on water and waste reduction, we launched our Carbon Reduction Initiative, which has been recognized with the Gold Award from the American Society of Association Executives. With a global benchmarking challenge and an online resource center, BOMA is demonstrating the commercial real estate industry's commitment to reducing carbon emissions, one building at a time. During your visits to Capitol Hill, remember to showcase the invaluable contributions our industry brings not only to the economic bottom line, but also in making the business case for a sustainable future.
BOMA PAC is BOMA International's Political Action Committee. It enables BOMA International's advocacy team to raise money to re-elect political candidates for federal office on both sides of the aisle who understand and support the policies that affect commercial real estate. With assistance from BOMA PAC, our advocacy team builds and strengthens relationships on Capitol Hill. Through your support, it allows us to engage with elected officials and candidates and educate them about the issues our industry is facing. And we are seeing progress like never before. As always, we greatly appreciate your support.
We want to share a few tips to keep in mind as you prepare for your congressional meetings. First, be confident. Never underestimate how valuable your industry knowledge and experience is to lawmakers. You have firsthand understanding of a key sector of the economy, so share who you are and what BOMA does. You can always follow up later with details about programs or legislation, but telling your story and making a personal connection is the most important thing.
Be appreciative. Don't be disappointed if you end up speaking with a staff member instead of the elected official, or if your meeting gets moved to a hallway instead of an office, or your meeting gets cut short after just a few minutes. Lawmakers and their staffs often have hectic and unpredictable schedules, and they will appreciate your understanding and flexibility.
Be concise. You can always assume that an elected official's time is at a premium, and it's the same for their staff. You'll want to be conversational, and there's no need to rush your delivery, but plan to keep your communication clear, brief, and focused. If you're part of a group, decide in advance who will handle specific talking points.
Have an ask. While making a connection is most important, it's also best to have a specific ask, a straightforward request of your legislator. This can be asking for support of one of our bills, or it can be extending an invitation to join an event or take a tour back home. Elected officials and their staff fully expect these requests, so don't hesitate to make the ask.
Offer to answer questions. Ultimately, you want to be a resource to your lawmakers as someone who has reliable information and offers a valuable perspective. In addition to your leave-behind materials, include a business card or other document so that they know how to get back in touch with you if they have additional questions.
Ask questions too. Take advantage of the often overlooked opportunity to gain insight on legislation and other issues. You'll be surprised how much you can learn from your elected official, legislative aides, and front desk staff simply by asking. Stay away from anything too controversial, but if you have questions about specific issues, ask away.
Follow up. Send a thank you message by email to anyone you meet with. Not only is it the considerate thing to do, but it jumpstarts the relationship that you're hoping to build.
Finally, keep BOMA International in the loop. Provide feedback to the advocacy staff on how your meeting went. Copy us on your thank you notes and let us know if you have any questions or if we can assist with any follow-up. This is important so I can continue the work here in DC that you started.
So I want to thank you for taking the time to review the information in this video to prepare for your congressional visits. More importantly, I want to thank you for the time and investment you've made in BOMA International and in our industry so that we can move forward in a positive, productive, and profitable way. Thank you for being here.